Welcome back to PMI-RMP exam under the microscope. Today we're going to take a look at domain 2, which is risk identification. This is one of my favorites because this is where you find it early, you name it clearly, and you manage it wisely. And no idea about a risk is a dumb idea. That's always my mantra. You cannot manage what you cannot identify. You want to identify today so that you can control tomorrow. The mindset needs to be discover, analyze, document, and act. Discover, analyze, document, and act. That's the mindedness. So the very first thing that we do here is we conduct risk identification exercises. These could be extremely valuable when you have a team that's ready to think with you as a thinking partner. So we have meetings, interviews, focus groups, subject matter expert support. We're conducting meetings and interviews to really hone in on what could possibly be a risk on this project. Remember, a risk is uncertainty that, if it happens on the project, could influence that project positively or negatively. So we conduct meetings, interviews, focus groups, SME sessions. We then perform a detailed analysis of identification results. There's a model that the PMI calls the cause, risk, and effect model. I just call it CRE. Before you get down to the bottom of every risk, you must look at the cause. What could cause that risk to happen? For example, a risk of someone falling over. What could cause that risk to happen? A wet floor or a mop bucket. See, two ways to think. First of all, find the risk. What could cause the risk? Wet floor, right? That could cause the person to fall down. And what will the effect be? Broken bones or even a lawsuit. You see, you got to think broadly. When you identify risk, we have what we call secondary risks. And when you think about secondary risk, a risk that happens as a result of you trying to prevent another risk. You see, so the cause risk effect model needs to help you think in a cascading way. What could cause that risk to happen? If that risk does happen, what is an offshoot risk that could materialize if we're trying to prevent that risk? You see, so when you think about all of this, let's say a mop bucket is on the floor, you're trying to dry the floor, or you put a sign that says don't run or whatever. These are ways you need to think in a cascading way how to prevent risks and how your prevention could lead to other risks if care is not taken. You see, it's a stream of consciousness. So we're going to analyze documents and transcripts, telemetry data, whatever you've got, and then we're going to classify risks as negative risks or threats, and then positive risks or opportunities. And a lot of companies, unfortunately, do not have risk registers that they maintain and they review and they revise on the regular. A lot of times it's just a one shot at it and it's never revisited. But this needs to be a living document. Also, a lot of companies don't do opportunities analysis. They just think about the threats, but not the opportunities. We don't want to do that. We want to think about the opportunities as well. All right, so that's the very first task. The second task is examine assumption and constraint analysis. What does this mean? Assumptions are things that are considered to be true without proof. A constraint is something that limits the team's options. We want to make sure that these assumptions and constraints are valid at all times. So we're going to leverage the results of assumption and constraint analysis. We categorize the assumptions and constraints, and then we assess risk associated with each assumption and each constraint. We understand relationship with project objectives and cascade effects. We challenge assumptions, not in a draconian, threatening way, but in a safe space kind of a way, like an Ed DeBono's 6 thinking hats kind of a way. We challenge the assumptions and constraints with stakeholders. We make sure we're validating and vetting whatever we're deciding and whatever we're concluding. Number 3, Document risk triggers and thresholds. A trigger is a warning sign that a risk is about to occur or has occurred. So we want to think about triggers, causes, timing, consequences, and impact. We also want to look at thresholds and understand, are they high, medium, low? What do they mean? So we're going to assess and confirm compliance thresholds and risk categories. We already have some information from the previous task about this. We assess and document triggers, causes, and timing. We assess and document consequences and impact. And then we empower stakeholders to challenge existing thresholds. The final one that we have here, my friends, is number 4. Develop risk register. The risk register is your gold item that you're trying to mine from this whole idea. When you talk about a risk register is a living, breathing document that goes through evolution all throughout the process. When we think about risks, you think about the cause, the risk, and the effect. That's what you do in the identification of the risk. But when you get to the qualitative risk analysis, you're going to find out that qualitative risk analysis could be looked at as a high, medium, low view to the risk. But you can also go a step further and you could use a numerical value from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or 1 to 10, depending, for both the probability and the impact. And as a result of whatever you score the probability of the risk occurring and the impact, you have two numbers, a 1 and a 5, for example. Probability of 1, not likely, but if it does happen, the impact could be a 5. You multiply those and you get what we call a risk score. Well, the risk register contains a lot of information. It should contain the risk score. It should contain the probability, the impact rating. You could go a step further and we go into quantitative risk analysis, which is a quantitative measure of the risk and going more into dollars times percent. And that gives you the expected monetary value. That also needs to be in your risk register. So we're thinking about identifying risks, putting that in your risk register, doing a qualitative risk analysis, putting that in your risk register, doing a quantitative risk analysis, putting that in your risk register. And then when we talk about assigning a risk response owner, someone who will do the legwork to respond to the risk, that should be in the risk register. When we talk about a risk action owner, someone who is taking actions on the risk, same thing, same person, usually the risk response person, that should also be in the risk register. Now, the more umbrella term of a risk owner, the overall owner of the risk, whose objectives are being affected, that should also be in the risk register. So we have a smattering of possibilities as well as the status, because as you're going through the project, you want to make sure you're updating the probability and the impact. And those that have a very low EMV, to begin with, a low risk score, they will fall to the bottom of the risk register. Those, you put them on a watch list and you're keeping your eye on them. If those change, then of course you would update the risk register accordingly. There's a lot that goes into the maintenance of the risk register. The development of the risk register is one thing, but the maintenance of the risk register is another thing. So we want to analyze validity of identified risks and triggers, examine risk attributes, probability, impact, urgency, establish risk origin and ownership, and then classify risks as threats or opportunities in your risk register. My friends, this was a much longer adventure than Domain 1. This is 23% of the exam. So between the first domain and the second domain, we've got about 45% of the exam. I hope this is helping you. If it is, smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget, you have riskresponder.com, which is for those who want to elevate their consciousness in risk with the Risk Doctor and I. And then we also have pmradio.org, which is a free portal for those of you who are PMPs looking to go to the next level, and those of you who are PMP students And even for those of you who are newbies, all right, pmradio.org. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you in Domain 3.